What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Lore Reloaded. I am James, your wonderful host. As is always, I'm going to give it a second, make sure my audio is doing well, and then this is going to be somewhat of a different video. James. One in the chat if everything's going well. Can you guys even talk in the chat? Test. Can. Great. Fantastic. Yeah, one in the chat if the audio is coming well, and then we'll get started. As I stated, this is going to be a pretty different one than what I generally do. If you're watching this because you decided to look up suicide or you're thinking any negative thoughts, I want to start out by saying it gets better. There are actual suicidal hotlines or numbers in the description. And that I actually kind of want to talk to you guys about the last year of my life for sure, but really the last 5 years. And the reason why I'm doing this is sort of a way of reaching out to people, and you'd be surprised how many emails I get from people talking about how they're going through rough times, or how they don't know they're going to get through stuff, or how they're going to, how they just didn't know how they were going to continue living, and how my channel helped out, which blows my mind. I'm just a lore channel, right? I'm a dude on the internet, just to steal from SF Debris, because everybody thinks I do that anyway. I'm just a dude on the internet who has an opinion, right? But ever since the game theorist, Matt Pat, decided to, or did a video about the suicide of what happened with one of their members, he said something that was pretty powerful to me. And specifically that if you are battling depression or battling suicide and you battle it 100 times, even if you win 99 out of the 100 times, you still lose. And so I just wanted to put a video together talking about my experiences, what I went through, and how it can help you. I also want to put this up because BetterHelp has done a lot of good for me specifically. My anecdotal experience with BetterHelp has been tremendous. I don't make any money from BetterHelp. I'm not getting paid to do this, and I never will. I'll never accept one dime from BetterHelp for multiple reasons. Generally, because it doesn't help you guys at all. There's no monetization, and any donations you do go to the International Suicide Prevention place. So, let's just get into it and break it down. I'm sorry. I know there's not going to be a lot of people here because this isn't what you guys usually are here for. But I kind of just wanted to, if I can help people, even if it's a small number, then I want to do it, right? So we're actually going to go back 10 years first. But again, the last 5 years, with two exceptions, have been the worst years of my life. One of them I can't really talk about right now. It's an ongoing thing. I hope it continues to go better or get better. But I don't really want to go into that. The other one was the fact that, I got my dream job, what I've always wanted to do. But with those two exceptions, it's been a pretty horrific year for me, or a pretty horrific 5 years for me. 5 years ago, I lost my mom. Now, I didn't just lose my mom. What happened was she slipped into a coma due to MRSA, which apparently can very much destroy a human being from the inside out. What happened, I don't know how MRSA got into her system or whatever, but ultimately she got MRSA. I think it started in her liver, destroyed her liver, then moved to another vital organ, destroyed that, moved to another vital organ, destroyed that, till it made its way to the brain. She was in a coma for the better part of a week. Maybe a little bit longer. And during that time, my family decided that it was best to rip itself apart. I think the highlight for me during that time was being lumped in with, I forget the exact word, but I think it was mother murderer or something like that. Because at that point she was basically brain dead, and part of the family thought we should take her off life support. The other part was stupid. And so, and I guess what makes it worse than that too is that the 5 years up to her death, so 10 years ago, she had constantly more and more started going into the hospital. And during that time, it was so gradual that during the time you don't really notice it, right? And so when she started going more and more, it was just so gradual that we didn't notice. And so I went and saw her, of course, but not as much as I would have had she all of a sudden just started being in the hospital so much. And again, she succumbed to MRSA. Yeah, and I don't know. What I do know about MRSA is that we all have it on us, apparently. And if it gets in your system and you're a baby or you're old, it will absolutely kill you. And anyway, so mom went into a coma, family tore itself apart, and she dies. Then, within the next year, my father, who had been a alcoholic, he had been. I think he'd gotten better about it. He had cancer, and some stuff was going on, so he couldn't drink anymore because of the type of medicine and stuff that he had to go through, right? And so he's pretty old. He stops drinking. I want to say, I wasn't completely sure on 100% of what was going on, but I want to say they induced him into a coma so that the withdrawals from being an alcoholic for 40 or 50 years wouldn't impact him. And so he never came out of that coma, and he passed away too. The sad piece to that is that my understanding, my parents had me when they were old, by the way. I don't suggest having kids when you're 40. I would never say. I mean, if you do, that's fine, but I would not suggest it. But he apparently he didn't really have any issues before, and he went to, it was either Korea or Vietnam. He never talked about it, so it's hard. I have barely any information, and came back and became an alcoholic after that. It's kind of tragic. So he passed away, and from there we go up a couple of years. A dog I had for over 10 years, longer than I'd been married, passed away because she was getting old. And the thing I hated about that is that she was just hurting a lot. It was a pit bull mix, and she was shaking a lot. And if you guys have seen the Borg video, the video on the it was Attila. I think it was on if the Borg could defeat the Dominion. I think is that one. I had to put her down, so I actually had her in my arms as they killed her, and that was pretty bad. And then the next dog that had been there, Cleo, had been there for a long time, 8 to 9 years. She died right in front of me. And then I was trying to, it was early in the morning, and I was trying to find a vet, and none of them were open. And so I had a dead dog in the car with me for about a year or 2 years. Or not about a year. Wow. About 30 minutes to an hour. What's going on, Peter Quinn, Dr. Mania, Tazoon Gary? I will, Bird of Prey 5. That sucks, man. I'm sorry that happened. But I'll talk to you guys in a second. But again, the reason I want to do this is I kind of want to let people know that stuff gets to her. What's up, Fancy Teeth? Yeah, we did. We dedicated a video to Cleo, and I dedicated one to Attila. And so, recently, as a lot of you guys know, I then went through my divorce. And there's a lot more to that I can never really talk about or get out on in the public eye. But like with anything, it's always a lot more convoluted, with both sides never being completely 100% clean. So, all of that to say, the past 5 years of my life have been what I would define as pretty horrific. And the natural things that happen with humans happen to me. which is to say, I thought about uh, self-harm. I thought about suicide. I'm not there, never was there. Thoughts entering does not mean you're going to do it. Um, but, when so much happens at once, it's perfectly normal to go through those things. And that's one of the reasons why I'm telling you guys about this, is because I constantly get emails that people, are going through these rough spots. And, they don't know what to do, or they're glad my videos come out. And I want you to know that a lot of this is normal, and that it's okay to feel what you feel, but you need to talk to people, or you need to get it out, especially if what you're feeling goes to if what you're feeling becomes action. Anthony D, given $2 for charity, goes to the ISP. Just for those who know, any super chats are going to the International Suicide Prevention. I'm not making any money off of this. And so that's really, I guess I should have started with that. Now I'm 10 minutes in. That's really what I wanted you guys to know, is that if you're going through rough spots, it's okay to feel any emotion that you feel. If you have self-harm or suicide, then you should talk to somebody. But the emotions you have are okay. Don't try to hide them. Don't try to run away from them. And it gets better. That was the major point I wanted to say. My life is starting to get better. I mean, you never know. I never know what's going to happen tomorrow. But things are starting to look up. And had I given in, committed suicide, self-harm, if I decided just to grow into a ball and die like I wanted to, then I don't know that things would have gone that way. And so that was really what I wanted to say here. One of the interesting things that I've never really talked to people about either, Salil Badnagar, I'm a high schooler, and the only thing that makes me feel better is Star Trek, so thanks for the Well, I'm glad you appreciate it. That's one of the cool things about what I do. I get stuff like that every day, and I that makes me want to do better for you guys. But I've never really talked to anybody about this, but for the first couple of months, when I first found out about my divorce and other things, I was doing this full time. And it was one of the... I enjoyed what I did, but you don't really understand the special type of pain or hell you have to go through in order to entertain people, because you need to do that, because you need to eat, your kids need to eat, but want to die inside. And I do think that if you look during those couple of months, I was a bit more dark, a bit more angry than I usually was, which I've for the most part come out of that. Now I'm just naturally my angry self. Star Trek has the shields. Yeah, it's funny making fun of people with accents, isn't it, Anthony D? Let's do that. I'm just giving you a hard time. So, all of that to segue. Well, not all of that to segue. Honestly, this is the most important part. What I wanted to say, and I did it in less than 14 minutes. All I wanted to say is that if you're going through a rough time, you need to get help. You need to talk to people. And you need to know that things get better. That's just the way life works. I don't know what specifically is going on in your life. I'm sure there are things more horrific than the last 5 years that I went through. But things get better, regardless of what it is. And you need to see that. You also need to know that any long-term impact you do to yourself, just trade stuff off. One thing, I don't think, this is just my personal opinion. I'm about to piss a lot of people off, I believe. But I don't know that anyone who commits suicide is necessarily has all of their faculties or anything like that. But suicide, I'm not putting down anyone who commits suicide or anything. I'm not. But suicide, the truth of suicide is that it doesn't stop the pain, it just transfers it, right? So if I had given in to any thoughts of suicide, I would have just transferred that pain to my 8-year-old and 4-year-old daughter. And so, if you're thinking about suicide, I would consider how it impacts other people too. Now, again, everybody's situation is different. I'm not saying that people who commit suicide are selfish or anything. It's just I want you to consider, if you're there, if you're watching this, which is one of the reasons I did it, and you feel like you're close to there, you need to get help and talk to somebody, because it's quite permanent. Once you take a life, you can't give it back. You can't give your life back. You can't give another person's life back, and it only transfers pain. And if you think no one else cares about you, I guarantee you, I don't know you, but I guarantee you, you're wrong. Now, let's talk about the secondary issue, which isn't as important as the last 16 minutes. Let's discuss. Let's discuss how to get help and help that is out there, and let's discuss people's opinions on BetterHelp. And the funny thing is, about 4 months, I've been doing BetterHelp for about a year, maybe a little under, and about 4 months ago, I wanted to do a video like this, giving a shout out to BetterHelp. No money. I'll never accept money from BetterHelp ever. But I was going to be free. It was just me saying, hey, this company really helped me out. I would suggest it for you guys. BetterHelp has quite a few flaws and quite a few things that they've done wrong. I don't disagree. But I worry. BetterHelp helped me out tremendously. It helped me out tremendously. And without it, I don't know if I would be doing as well as I was doing. If I hadn't gotten a hold of Denise, my therapist, who I talk to on a weekly basis, I don't know that I would be doing as well, be moving as forward. I don't know that I'd be in college. I don't know that I would have the girlfriend that I have. I don't know that that I would be. I mean, it's still tough, but I don't know that I'd be as well as I am. And so the problem is I'm not. The issue is that a while back. Let's start there. A while back, there was a program called Candid, for those who remember. So, first off, let me address this. Lego, my ego, they don't have doctor-patient confidentiality, and they exist to mine everything you say. Do you have anyone who's not Keemstar that has any modicum of actual, and not clown, who has any modicum of actual legitimacy that backs that up? Because there is no proof to that I see. There's a lot I have wrong with BetterHelp, and I'm going to go into that. But that is silly. I don't mean that in a... I'm sorry, that just seems silly to me. Maybe you're right and I'm wrong, but let's talk about Candid real quick. Because Candid was an actual company that mined what you said. There was a company called Candid that reached out to the skeptic community. Amazing Atheist, Mundane Matt, Armored Skeptic, Bearing. All of these influencers. And so these free speech influencers. And so these free speech influencers came out and said, you should use Candid because you can say anything you want and it's the best thing possible. And so tens of thousands of people, if not hundreds of thousands of people, went to Candid because these free speech skeptics that were the alternate media that were there, and they only cared that you could say whatever you wanted, that you were fighting the repressive left, though most of them consider themselves left-leaning. And then Harmful and Bearing came out and shown how Candid was paying these skeptics who did no research off to mine words that is now used on YouTube, on Facebook, and on Twitter to bring down what people say, freedom of speech, to destroy freedom of speech. And to this day, some of these skeptics still claim, and then you have people like Sargon, who never took Candid money, but was like, hey, we shouldn't expose this because it makes us all look bad. And so it was a really bad situation, and Candid was a really bad company. And they proposed to be used for greatness, and they were used for evil. And again, Harmful Opinions did a great job, and Bearing did a great job, and exposed them for who they were. Now, why am I talking about Candid on this? I'm talking about Candid on this because you circle around, and now you have Harmful Opinions looking into BetterHelp. Let me talk about my problems with BetterHelp, and then let me talk about what I disagree with people have said. If you want to see what I think are great breakdowns of criticisms for BetterHelp, and I don't think they're all right, but I think these people actually do try to do their research. They didn't get it all right, but they try to do their research. I would suggest looking at Harmful Opinions breakdown of BetterHelp. I would look at Mumkey Jones actually joined BetterHelp and attempted to be Elliot Rodgers. He got some things wrong, but that was interesting to watch. I don't know. If you guys have any suggestions, put it in chat and I'll tell you. So, I love BetterHelp because Denise has put me where I am. And I would honestly suggest it for people. But you need to know these things beforehand because I didn't know them before I got into this. Black Ops 2 was great, says Lego. So that's what I should be playing right now, Black Ops, right? And by the way, Anthony, thank you so much for donating. I appreciate it. It doesn't go to me. It goes to ISP. It goes to stopping suicide or helping with suicide. So BetterHelp connects you with a licensed therapist. At least they got me to a licensed therapist who is licensed in my state and can be verified, Denise. Every person I have talked to who has used BetterHelp has had a licensed therapist. So the fact that their terms of service originally said that they can't guarantee it, my counselor had told me that she went through one of the most rigorous things she ever had to go through to be a part of BetterHelp, that they are very rigorous in what they do. I trust her. She, I know, is there. So, she is licensed. So, I have no reason to believe that she'd lie to me either. So, I mean, you take that for what it is. What I don't like about BetterHelp. BetterHelp is kind of pricey, though depending on how much you make, they can actually reduce it. When I first started, I had absolutely nothing, for all intents and purposes, and they reduced it to they took 90% off. And they let me pay weekly. Still do let me pay weekly. This whole you have to pay lump sum in a month is BS. Mumkey doesn't know what he's talking about. Keemstar sure as hell doesn't know what he's talking about. I don't know. I guess Colossal likes bouncing on Keemstar's lap. He doesn't know what he's talking about. You can get it at a weekly rate. And you can get it at extremely reduced rates, depending on how much you make. Here's one thing I don't like about them, though. They're very insistent that they get paid correctly and on time every week. So, for instance, let's say for whatever reason they're not able to take out the money or you're not able to pay them. Here's what happens. Your therapist can send you messages, but you can't respond. That is manipulative as hell. And dangerous, in my opinion. I don't like that about BetterHelp. I don't know what you could do to make it better, honestly. I don't know how to fix that specific issue. But that is manipulative as hell. The terms of service, it has typos, and it had that one where it's not licensed, or they don't have to be licensed. That's worrying. Why the hell? I understand that you want to protect yourself, but if you're going to do this, then you definitively need to go through the rigorous requirements and say you're going through the rigorous requirements, right? Now, Lego Mago brought up something where he talked about, man, my kids, they are having fun. Lego Mago brought up something where he says, well, they're recording you. They don't have the requirements. I don't know where the hell that came from, and I don't believe it. I don't believe it at all. That said, I can see why people might think that. What happens is when you're using BetterHelp and you're talking to your therapist and your therapist says, okay, can I give you a call? You say, great. On BetterHelp's website, they pop up, you put your number in, then they call you at an 800 number. And then it says, hey, this is BetterHelp. Would you like to connect with your therapist? Now, I don't think it's being recorded. I think that is absolutely stupid as hell. Here's the reason why. There's a couple of reasons. But the main reason why is they don't tell you that you're being recorded. They don't give you any kind of alert. If they are recording, they are going to have one hell of a lawsuit from every state that isn't dual consent, that doesn't require consent on both sides. You're required by by state law in a lot of states that it's two-party consent. And so the fact that they don't tell you that is absolutely against the law in most states, and they're going to have one hell of a lawsuit coming their way. I don't believe it. The other piece, I guess, is the other criticism that has come up is that man, where I was going. The other criticism, and if you guys have criticisms or something I can answer, let me know. But the other criticism that has come up has been about, well, I wasn't thinking about this, but the fact that they used actors for their paid endorsements is stupid disappointing. And I don't know a lot about that. I don't know if maybe they have these paid actors and then they're using real testimonials for actors because people do that, or they just paid actors. And I don't know why they do that, because it's a wonderful, for me, it's been a wonderful service. She has helped me more than anything. Well, I won't say that. She has helped me infinitely. And so, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know why they would do that. If you don't like BetterHelp, that's fair enough. But an online service like that, I would suggest trying it out. I don't agree with Harmful Opinions who says that it's an add-on. I think that it can be in replacement of, because I have used, she is my therapist, and she is excellent. I have a chat service. I chat to her. If I need anything, I send it. I get answers back within, 24 hours. Generally a couple hours, but 24 hours. And I guess what I want to say is BetterHelp is not perfect. They have a lot of issues. I agree. Especially in that one manipulative point. But if Keemstar or Colossal is crazy, or anyone who does, I would call them dangerous. I would say what they're doing is dangerous. Absolutely. If they're turning you off from BetterHelp, then look into it yourself, or just find another service. People need help. People are being turned away from BetterHelp. I didn't watch PewDiePie's breakdown. Apparently that was excellent. I don't really watch PewDiePie all that much, so I can't speak to his character. What I do know of him, he seems on the up and up. He seems pretty decent. I mean, I don't know him that much. But BetterHelp really helped me. BetterHelp, in my opinion, is not Candid. I could be wrong, and if I'm proven wrong, I won't use them again. Anthony D, it's about $250 a month, isn't it? Depends. I didn't pay $250 a month. I didn't pay $250 up front. They do offer weekly. And so, is it $250 a month? At the end of the day, depending on how much you make, it could be, but you can pay weekly. I do think that it is a cheaper alternative, even better alternative than face-to-face. I didn't start out paying $250. I barely paid $100 in my first month with BetterHelp. Because I had no money, I was honest with them, and they're like, sure, here's 90% off. And that's exactly what they did. So, I could see where that would be suspicious, but using actors can serve as an additional layer of confidentiality protection. Yeah. Fancy Teeth. Colossal is crazy. He has more clout than I think he deserves. I don't dislike him, but he's not. I like Colossal is crazy. I'm really confused on his crusade. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He's provably wrong. Just like Keemstar is provably wrong. I just think he's been hanging out with Keemstar too much. You know, Keemstar is one of the nicest people in person, though. His online persona I have problems with, but I met the guy in person. He's one of the nicest people. Michael Leith, been a tough couple of years for me too. Dealt with a lot of stuff you have. Keep your head up, man. I'm glad. I hope things are going better for you. Anyway, this video was more about... The reason why I'm talking about BetterHelp is because I want you to get help. I want you to reach out to a resource that will help you. And I fear that all of this will keep you away from a resource that might be good for you. I haven't received any money from BetterHelp. I damn sure won't. Generally, the way I do partnerships and sponsorships is that it has to actually be a benefit to you guys. I've been offered money or stuff that for things that haven't been related, but it needs to be science fiction related. It needs to be lore related. Generally, I prefer it to be Trek related. And BetterHelp just doesn't do any of that. If you don't like BetterHelp, if you believe everything everyone else has said, fine. Go find whoever their competitor is. I think Harmful Opinions, I think Mumkey Jones, Boogie2988, I think they all are coming from a good spot. I think they all sincerely believe what they're saying. I don't think they're right about everything they say. But if you want a detractor for BetterHelp, go look at their stuff. And I think they're as honest as you're going to get with it. And then if you don't like them, go find somewhere else. All that to say, it gets better, guys. And whatever you're going through, it just takes time. My life is now in an upward spiral. I'm going to get I'm in school for a degree for digital cinematography. I'm so excited about that. I have a great new friend who I'm absolutely in love with, who is just absolutely awesome. One of the best people. You guys are going to meet him one day. One of the best people you'll ever meet. I got my girls. Everything is just going well for me. But within the last year to year and a half, was probably... The last 5 years were the worst years of my life. The last year and a half was the pinnacle of the last 5 years. So... you know. Who is right about everything at Lord? Exactly, Peter Quinn. No one's right about everything. I'm sure there's things here that I'm not right about. So, anyway. Hope you guys enjoyed this for what it is. I'm sorry it's not a lore related. I got, tomorrow I'm going to be doing my video, my revamp of the board. So, the video that started this channel was, the Federation Assimilated. I'm going to pull a Gamer from Mars idea, and I'm going to redo that every year to commemorate. And so I'm looking forward to getting that out. I'm going to work on that. I may do a lore thing tonight just to get away from this. Anthony D., according to PewDiePie, BetterHelp pays advertisers $200 per person for referrals. Okay. I can't speak to that. What I know of PewDiePie, he seems on the up and up. He may be absolutely truthful. Absolutely. I don't know. Lego My Ego, I couldn't do what you do, but it seems to be supporting your family and is entertaining. Man, I love doing this. I love it to the nines and back. It is one of the, this is fantastic. I love you guys. I love doing this channel. You know, I could go back into the corporate world and make so much more money, but I really, this takes care of my kids, and I absolutely enjoy the hell out of this. So, it was tough doing this when I initially found out everything that was going on with the divorce. It was very tough. But I'm so glad that I stayed doing this, because it's the hardest job I've ever had. It really is. I work myself 40 plus hours, but I love it. I absolutely do. And that's one of the reasons why I'm telling you guys, if you're going through tough things, just keep moving through it. Just keep pushing forward, because it gets better. Anthony D., how are the kids doing? As well as expected, I think. One of the toughest you know, like here when I had to get up and entertain you guys when all I wanted to do was die. Putting on a brave front for them and being okay, and you know, telling them, hey, you know, these things happen. It's not a big deal. We both still love you. Everything's going to be great. You know, nothing's changing. You know, I wouldn't wish that on anybody. You know, I don't like Will Wheaton. I wouldn't want Will Wheaton to go through that. No one deserves to have to tell a person they're infinitely in love with, not in love with, but love, that things they don't feel like are true, but no, mentally they are. To effectively have to lie and put on a brave front. Because doing anything else is just negative for you and for them. Mike Vasquez, I'd love to see a Romulan Empire assimilated story thread. Maybe you will. Maybe it's tomorrow. In the middle of all that, you definitely added to my life and the lives of many others. Leslie White, thank you. I appreciate it. But anyway, that's that. I hope this is more trying to help people out. As I said, the video is not monetized, and any super chats I've gotten go directly to charity. And I'm not saying BetterHelp is great or they're not some kind of insidious company. They may be. That has not been my experience. And anyone who has made them out to be 100% insidious has no idea what in hell they're talking about. Keemstar is like an evil downward thrust when it comes to this BetterHelp stuff. He latched on to what people have said, got a ton wrong, and has profited off of it. Colossal is crazy, had a brain aneurysm, or just believes anything Keemstar says. As I said, other people have had legitimate complaints. It sounds like PewDiePie brought up some great things. Harmful opinions, Mumpke Jones. And I really think they are manipulative when it comes to the finances. I think that allowing you to see your counselor respond to you and say, hey, are you there? Where are you? Are we talking today? And when you try to respond, it says, please pay X. Is horrific. That said, all of the pros, for me, outweigh that con. But that's a hell of a con, if you ask me. I would suggest you guys at least take a look at BetterHelp, or take a look at something similar to BetterHelp. Without them, I wouldn't be where I was. Yes, I am taking over List 25. No, in fact, this really hot chick likes bearded guys, so I'm doing beards. I agree, but what is the alternative? I don't know. What is the alternative? Let's look it up. BetterHelp alternative. Let's see. Talkspace Online. Get matched to a therapist. So you have Talkspace Online. BetterHelp alternatives and similar apps. I don't know anything about these, but you guys are asking. So if these are bad, don't let me know. 7 Cups, Mellotop, Blah Therapy, Talkspace, Facebook, your friends, start your own vlog. I don't know. Oh, what's better to the pricing tactic? I don't know how to fix that. I'll be honest with you. I don't know how to do it in a way to make that okay. I'm not saying that I have a fix for what you do there. I'm just saying that I don't like that. And I could see that hurting people. But I don't know how to fix it. I don't run that website. I'm not going to run a website like that. After this, I'm going to continue to make lore videos and do this for as long as you guys are going to show up. And then once I'm not able to, hopefully this is going to be what I do for the rest of my life. I'd love to be an entertainer. I'd love to take this to the next level. Maybe not YouTube, but something being an entertainer. And then, but, you know, if it ever stops doing it, then I'll just go back into the corporate world. Or I'll just marry rich. And do that. All right, guys. Laura, you need to hook me up with a hot Tennessee woman. Okay. Maybe I will. Maybe I will. Fancy Tooth, or open the yellow pages and pick up a therapist. Yeah, I mean, or you can just find a therapist and do traditional therapy. Definitely. Because they have pay scales too. All right, guys. Remember, in the end, ultimately, all of our lives are just a story. Make yours a good one. And don't end it. Don't end it at all.